James McOnie, have you recovered from the Rory McIlroy roller coaster that was the Masters yesterday?
Oh, it was amazing watching that incredible final round. Going to a playoff as well. I mean, what was Rory doing? It was almost a choke, but it was a choke that didn't stay terminal, because I think if he had lost that tournament, that would have haunted him for the rest of his days. He was trying to get the career Grand Slam.
Yeah.
That's the missing piece of the puzzle. He's got all the other 3 majors, and there's only 6 people who've ever done it, and they're all the 6 people you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Tiger, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Gene Sarazen. So in the end, he frickin' needed that so bad, and you watch him drop to his knees. That's an iconic moment now, because it's given sport something that you don't often get, even in a Grand Slam tennis. You know how they used to sort of like fall backwards and sort of like exhaustion, tears, emotion, everything. This is it. Well, Rory gave us all that and more, because it was like almost about 4 or 5 crying points. There was a crying at the end, when he won it, crying with Justin Rose, who was his good mate, the playoff partner, crying with his hot wife, who had a hat that you couldn't see the pash that they were giving. Very strategic, wide-brimmed hat. And then...
You reckon she slipped the tongue in? Do you reckon he was tongue?
You're definitely pashing him for that.
Okay.
It's actually giving their marriage a bit of a prolonged kind of life, really, because they tried to divorce, remember, a year ago or something?
They did.
And then they said, oh, no, flip it and reverse it, we're going back in. And then there's a really long shot of him walking past all the fans, and you can see the emotions on his face. It's an incredible shot. You know what I'm talking about?
He had to deep breathe his way all the way, and he was walking to the clubhouse to
sign his card, yes.
He's just going... just trying to keep it together.
So that was basically tears and deep breaths and everything, and you can just see it on his face. Like any actor who needs to say, how do I show raw emotion? And you just watch that long shot of Rory. Now, this will be a movie, obviously, at some point. And then getting the green jacket, when he was talking about his parents, he cried.
Yeah.
When he put the jacket on, and old Scotty Scheffler was there, more tears. It's like proper emotion. So good on you, Rory. Even though you walked past me at the Olympics and snubbed me, I love you.
You needed to put on an Irish accent. You need to put on
come here to me.
I know where you live. And he would have turned around and come back.
Yeah, maybe. That could have been a tactic. He's famously a non-high-fiver, though, eh? Like, I think that's the knock on Rory, is that he's not sort of mixing it with the fans and all that sort of stuff, but each to their own.
Well, Tiger Woods never did that.
Yeah, exactly.
He never touched a fan.
I know.
I watched him play a few times, Tiger Woods, over in England, and he... apart from outside, is what you're talking about. Yeah, he touched a lot of fannies, but not fans on the golf course. You know what I mean?
No.
He's pretty focused on the golf, off the golf course. Yeah,
Fanny Central.
Any fans a goal. Any fans a goal. So
good interjection, Nash. That's
Rory with that Rory McIlroy though. Like he mentioned in his speech that every single one of those players that had done the Grand Slam at some stage. Had told him, you'll join us at some stage, and he had that weighing on his mind the whole time. Like the way he unpacked how much pressure he was putting on himself. Yeah, that people were saying, "No, you'll get the jacket one day," and he was like, "Well, fucking win! I've been having 17 homes at this."
And he's got close a couple of times, but there was one very frustrating one. I actually watched this one with Angel Cabrera, the Argentinian dude, overweight, cigar smoker. So there's literally a guy smoking darts or cigars beating you on the final round.
Stuff.
That's the interesting thing. That's why we call it hitty walkie at Crowd Goes Wild, because Mark Richardson loves golf so much, and he was always very dismissive of basketball. He called it bouncy. So I decided to call golf hitty walkie, and that night Mulligan on Crowd Goes Wild loved it. He was like, oh my God, hitty walkie. And then you look at Mark Richardson's face. He just has to wear it because his favourite sport has just been exposed for exactly what it is. You hit and then you walk.
Hitty walkie.
Hitty walkie, that's what it is.
And the best hitty walkie was Rory McIlroy. Every time he absolutely striped one, he marched off at pace.
Go.
Yeah. So
was that 2011 that Angel Cabrera won?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, because apparently he left a note in Rory's locker befove the final round on Sunday.
Saying, I know where you live.
Is that what it said?
I don't know.
He's from Argentina, and he would have sort of said, good luck, a suerte.
Maybe he left
my friend Adolf has sent you these amazing cigars. He lives He lived in my village in Argentina.
Very nice man.
Very nice man, Argentina.
So the only European to do the Grand Slam, is that right? I believe. I think that's why there was so much pressure on him.
Yes. Yeah, correct. So all those other Americans. And that's why when you see those terrible Sports Illustrated greatest athletes of all time, it's just all Americans, and maybe they give Pele a mention. And it's like, fuck you, Sports Illustrated. There's more to life than... So, to be honest, I was talking with Joe Jury about this, about golf actually needs Rory. Yeah. Because even though Scotty Scheffler is freaking incredible...
He's pretty boring.
Rory is a personality. He's a battler. And even though he's from the smallest country possible, a bit like, someone coming from New Zealand and being like Lydia or whatever, but the fact that he's got this kind of global appeal, he's been a name, he's been a child prodigy, he's got the storylines of all that kind of stuff going for him, it makes it more interesting than just being another... Because some of those Americans, I think if you put them in a room and you said, okay, that's Justin Leonard, that's Jordan Spieth, and that's,
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas, yeah. Tell them apart. You can't. You do need iconic players, and that's what Rory is.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the footage of him entering? I didn't know they have it, but at Augusta, they have a special changing room for the champions only.
Yeah.
And so this first time he's allowed in the champions changing room. So if you've ever won it, you get a special area where only the champions. It's so golf and so Augusta to have a special area where you can only go if you've won a green jacket.
Yeah.
And that must piss you off. Every time you turn up to Augusta, you see another door which fucking Scheffler goes through and John Ram goes through and gets changed. You're like,
oh yeah, no.
What goes on in there? And you're like, motherfuckers. And and it was a great video of him going, oh yeah. And it's almost like he's walked in and gone, is that it? Is that it?
A couple of card
tables.
Where's
the hookers? Where's the drugs?
But then someone pops up, one of those dumb waiters or whatever, those sort of things opens through the wall, and there's all the stuff you can watch.
Like a speakeasy.
Yeah. Comes through here, Mr. McIlroy.
Mr. McIlroy.
And then you walk in and it's like this freaking amazing sort of wonderland.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka styles.
There's so many things that have been pre-prepared for this victory because Nike had an ad ready to go. Have you seen that one with the dry cleaning? There's a dry cleaning service and it's got like all of the dry cleaning coming around on a conveyor belt.
Oh, right.
And then someone hooks up the green jacket and it said ready for pickup Sunday. And it had Nike. Rory McIlroy. I mean, someone's had to bank that somewhere because that's the biggest curse of all time. That's up there with the NZME curse when they put congratulations to the Black Caps for winning the 2015 Cricket World Cup. Oh, no, the one at Lords, wasn't it?
Rory wasn't in that ad, was he?
No.
Oh, I was going to say,
no,
Jesus
but
Christ,
someone had that.
Fucking
someone had that on their hard drive.
Yeah, right.
Someone produced that.
Oh, I know, and that's the thing. It's like even that the graphic of all the career Grand Slams, someone would have had to have made that, and then
sat on it,
and then then it goes into a playoff, and they go, I spent a lot of time on this freaking graphic.
Well, that's like
it's like fucking hell. I mean, it's not a major, not as big as that as the ad, but I mean, all the T-shirts or whatever of champions, NBA champions, Super Bowl champions that go to third world countries, really, or landfill. They end up in freaking Guatemala or something, like that's.
I don't reckon they
famously.
End up there. I reckon they end up just in an incinerator. I reckon they don't allow them anywhere. They'd be worth quite a lot, though.
Yeah,
they would be.
That's being presumptuous about it. Like if you looked at, I didn't watch it from the start, but Rory McIlroy double bogeying at the beginning, and saying later he was nervous. There's a very human sort of side to Rory. I think the Americans they're robotic. They're pretty robotic. They talk about process all the time and blah blah blah.
And Bryson DeChambeau's the worst at it. He's a prime example.
And Rory doesn't do warm up strokes for his putting as well. Did you notice that? He just wanders up and
good.
Do you reckon that should be the rule at the ACC Open?
Yeah, well, that's Jeremy Wells's big rule is no practice shots anywhere.
Well, I know, and then Bryson DeChambeau's got a weird... He does a practice stroke right in front of the ball. Looks like he's going to hit it, but that's just he sort of pulls back and goes, no, that's not it. This is it,
Yeah.
And they've all got their own little quirks, but I thought Rory not practicing the putting stroke was quite interesting because...
He probably needed to practice that one he missed.
I know. And even the one that when he won it, have you watched the replay of that? Fucking hell. He just tapped it, didn't he?
Yeah.
There was no confidence in there.
Touched it. Anyway, okay, well, let's get this thing underway live from the Export Beer Garden studio. This is the Agenda Podcast for Tuesday, the 15th of April.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. brought to you by Export Ultra.
Now, James McOnie, I don't remember much from the commentary on Friday night. Apparently I was here, but I do remember this.
Ruben Love slams it, the spiral kick for the 50-20. Will it break? No. Dribbles into the dead ball area and will go dead. And they'll go all the way back. Oh, Ruben Love has a crack at Jordan. The pussies have a go.
Take your clothes off.
The back three have a go. As a bunch of teenagers film them in the field.
Okay, well, I mean, they're pretty
there?
hot. Like, you've got cum gutters and everything, like, on both sides.
I think we might have said start kissing at some stage.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if you've got double gutters, then I think it's only fair that they take that. Because, I mean, they're struggling rugby union. They need something. And if you've got Will Jordan versus Ruben Love, it should be a topless fight.
What was Ruben Love thinking, though? Was he just trying to make a point, trying to the alpha model?
I think he's so like, I'm breathing down your neck, literally. How does it feel? I mean, a lot of people would love to have Ruben Love breathing down their neck,
but not Will Jordan.
No, it was just like the taking on the alpha, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
And it's nice, I think,
like having a shot at the title. That's what I thought it was. It's just having a wee go.
Reminding him that, hey, I've been playing some pretty cool rugby. Did you see my reverse pass the other day?
Yow.
You haven't done one of those?
And then all Will Jordan had to say is look at the scoreboard. And
it's the oldest sledge in the world, though, to look at the scoreboard.
But isn't it the most effective?
Oh, okay.
I find that's my advice to my children when they're playing up against kids who start to badmouth and they're winning. Just go, mate, just worry about the scoreboard.
Is that what you said at Lords when you were there in 2019?
A lot. I said that a lot to a lot of English fans. I said, check out the scoreboard, mate. And then
it's equal, guys. Can't we just get along?
And then at the end, I got run out of Lords.
Yes. The Crusaders, top of the table.
It's so disgusting.
And if they get all their people back, Mash will bring you in on this because you're a massive wounder about the Crusaders.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Because even Doggerel had a hell of a game after being criticised on the breakdown by old Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, maybe it was a little part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the breakdown went in on Doggerel. I mean, Doggerel had the most Doggerel response to it, didn't he? He said, not my best kind of season this far, but he pulled finger on the weekend. Yeah, top of the table, not tough. I mean, I thought at the end we were going to botch it. If we're talking about the Hurricanes game itself, I mean, there's a bit of territory down the other end. I think they had a bit of a look in at the end, the Hurricanes. They were 7 points behind. I was watching at a pub. I was with G Lane, during the day. We'd had a few too many.
It's your fault.
And I wasn't really across what was going on exactly. But look, top of the table, too easy.
I know that, you've obviously got the usual suspects, and it's easy as a Crusaders fan because they barely watch the game. They just talk about they just say, look at the scoreboard, right?
And
so
that's fair. Look at the time. Look at the table.
Exactly. And so they sort of know that some of them think Dan Carter's still playing and all that shit. Oh, Dan and Richie haven't got a chance.
They think Blackhead is still playing.
Yeah. See, he is.
Well, he is.
It's his son.
Yeah. Similar DNA. But the thing is, I was wondering because Moananu, the hooker, has been incredible, the reserve hooker. Mash or G Lane, are there any other Crusaders who you've thought, I like the cut of his jib?
I think you're so spot on. Just to your prior point about the fact that Crusaders fans don't actually watch the game, I don't think I could mention one passage of play from the season this far. All I know is that we are better than last year, and we are sitting atop the table.
Not hard to be better than last year.
No, it's not. But I mean, all right, Chiefs Money, you just hop down, baby.
I think you need to have a Crusaders Corner segment where you actually talk about a Crusader who you don't know about, who we don't know about. Because Moananu, he went to De La Salle College. He played rugby with Wallace Atiti, and they had an incredible under-15s team and a first 15 with those boys coming through. So it was like pretty cool that and then he was playing for Counties Manukau, and then so they stole him from the Steelers. And look at him go. Yeah. So Mash, but that's not my job. You're a Crusaders fan now. You've got to do a deep dive with Crusaders Corner, and I don't care who you're talking about. Every week, you've got to find a Crusaders player to talk about.
And I agree. And talk about them with genuine knowledge.
Yeah.
And
no, it's just a vibe
empathy.
check, boys. It's just a vibe check. If you pass the vibe check, you can play for the Crusaders. Not all 15 were passing the vibe check last season. This season, the vibe check, it's looking okay.
Well, the same guys are there.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
no,
The vibe's good.
Oh, no, there's a couple. You've jettisoned a couple. I've got to give a big shout out to Taha Kemera, who's playing first five, and he's from Te Awamutu, of course, G Lane, our hometown. Cheers, mana. He escaped, and he is looking the goods now. Even frickin' old Bieber, James O'Connor, scored a lovely try with a little pirouette move.
Yeah.
Holy shit. It actually was quite an interesting game because the Hurricanes, they thought they were going to win it last year. This year, they've gone all in going, yeah, we're going to be the toughest team to beat. It's our year. We've tasted that disappointment. Now look at us. And they've only got 3 wins, same as the Blues and the Moana and the Highlanders. Yeah.
Speaking of the Blues, do we remove the fork?
Oh, they're not done.
They're not done?
No.
Still rare? Still a bit of blood around the bone?
Even though Princess Talia is going to Japan, he's confirmed it today on his social media. He's off to Toyota, I think.
Now? Or mid-season? Or at
end of the end of the year, whenever they have to go.
So you're all right with that? That's good. Because I mean, you dropped a bit of a Woj bomb last week, didn't you? Suggesting that maybe that was happening. So it is locked in now.
Oh well, it was another. It was, I can't remember. It was out there in the media. It wasn't my story, but I thought there was the chance of a few guys leaving in different ways, like the old sabbatical and blah blah blah. I thought Caleb Clark might want to bail, and if he's allowed to. Go overseas and play for Kawasaki or Yamaha, I guess, are the 2 preferred clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, Isle of Man.
Yeah, exactly. He could play for the TT, yeah. He could play for Isle of Man. These are the options. But the thing
so many options.
He could. But I think with Talia going, it's going to be hard for Razor to pick him because you want to win, so you want your best strike winger who... When all's said and done, Talia's been the most consistent at test level for the past 2 seasons. But then you're building to the next World Cup. Do you just go, okay, I'm going to go Tangatau and, this actually could give Caleb Tangatau a bit of a shot at the ABs, I reckon.
And obviously Chiefs Mana, they slipped on that banana skin that you mentioned last week. You did say...
You thought this might happen,
a trip to Sydney.
Yeah.
A trip to Sydney as a potential Waratahs banana skin. Are the Aussie teams actually any good? Are they actually all right? It's hard for me to tell because I watch one game and go, they're shit. And then next game they'll play well. Like when New South Wales played Moana, I was like, oh, that is terrible. They've gone home and then beaten the Chiefs.
The one thing I would say is that like back in the day when it used to be Aussie versus Aussie. Aussie versus Aussie. Shit. It's like the games are always terrible, but now when they go Aussie versus Aussie, it's actually quite entertaining. So there are teams who can play, quite expansive rugby. When it comes down to it, the Brumbies, if you saw them play the Reds on Saturday night, they just ground them down. It was so boring. It was like so many rolling mauls.
It was old school.
It was real old school, just like. And someone had some 4X undies on, which I thought was the only highlight of the rolling mauls. Yeah, that was quite pretty
quality.
Cool.
That's proper Australia.
Yeah,
that's proper Australia right there.
They were Budgie Smuggler 4X edition, I think.
Oh, they're white fronts as well.
Maybe we could get Export Ultra to run some undies.
They do. A lot of them wear togs, like the Budgie Smugglers.
That's what they wear.
Yeah, they're not actual undies. They've got no Y front on them.
I think it's because they don't come down as easily.
You can't rip them off hard. Yeah. So,
but they're just because they're sweaty anyway. So it's a hot muggy night.
Chuck them in the wash.
If the Brumbies are the best team, I still don't think they can probably win the whole thing. But if the Reds or the Tars can get their act together, there'll be problems because you got Suoliti who's incredible. Yeah. Their whole backline's pretty bloody good, and then and their forwards outmuscled the Chiefs, and then the Reds all round. You'd say if you get McCrate Day back because he's still out with his bung shoulder, right?
Yeah.
They'll be better.
Who was the prop? The New South Wales prop that scored that 50-metre try against the Chiefs?
Oh,
who was that? Because he absolutely owned Mackenzie at fullback. Just hung off him. Just went bink, bink, bink and scored it. I can't remember who it was.
When was this?
Was it the last game or was it a highlight reel they showed from the year before and I can't remember?
With the improvement of Aussie teams in Super Rugby, do you think that means when the season comes to an end, the international side's going to be any better or nah?
I reckon you've got the likes of Joseph Saili in the team after a season of Super.
to play the Lions, the two things that are helping them, right, is Joseph Suoli'i, and they've got all these number 10s who are actually quite good now. They were always just kind of banking on Lolosio getting better, and he's actually gone and signed a deal overseas, so he's pretty much said, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
And the guy from the they all sound like rich banker kids, right? What's his name? Harry McLaughlin Phillips. And then there's Tom Liner, Michael Liner's boy, and the guy who played for the Tars on Saturday night when they scored that length of the field try, the coast-to-coast try. He did the incredible pass, the one where he caught it and just sort of flicked it behind him, and that pretty much created the try. Yeah, so they've got some good guys coming through.
So the back line looks good.
Yeah, and I mean, I reckon the forwards will be all right.
Yeah, you reckon? Okay. No, that's good. Because I'm just trying to figure out exactly how this happens, because it felt like we were only talking about this 2 seasons ago, that the Aussie teams were so tough. And I understand how one team turns it around, but in an entire nation's worth of teams all getting better.
Well, they've got rid of one team.
Well, that does
so they
help.
got rid of one team and slightly concentrated their talent, which is helpful.
And what they've done as well is they've realised that some of those Nepo finance babies, the finance bros, are actually quite good, like Harry Wilson. And
just a bunch of Nepo babies.
Yeah, they're massive Nepo baby team. The Nepo finance babies. They don't need rugby. They could.
Rugby needs them, though.
Rugby needs them. Yeah, they need their dads.
Yeah.
And so they've realised actually some of those guys can play, and so they've got a better mix now, because it used to just be like whoever's in the Brumbies can play for the Wallabies. Yeah.
So Seb's Super Rugby, speaking of which, and we've mentioned this before, but you can commentate the Super Rugby final thanks to the guys at Max Raft with New Zealand's next top commentator. By sending in a sample using the microphone button on your iHeart app. Here's an example of some audio. I haven't heard this, so God knows what it is.
A strong carry around the corner here from the young number 8, Jamie Lane. As he goes into contact, there's a great tackle made on him, and oh my God! Looks like he's being impaled on a large Polynesian man's thumb. Jesus Christ, I pray for those undies. It's like a bar of Knights Castile just making its way up there.
I see, okay.
Surprising ease. Oh, the poor young man. He looks to be grinning a bit much, though. Yeah, love your work, boys. Bless.
So let's were you Jamie Lane back in the day?
No, I think he's just used some creative license there. I was thinking, what's he talking about there?
How long have you been Mike? When did you become Mike?
Oh, from the start.
Okay.
From when I blasted out my mother's vagina, I've been Mike.
Well, you didn't need to say that like that.
Since my birth.
Thank you. Was that a commentary of a Hopewadi incident or a Hopewadi incident?
That was a famous Hopewadi incident.
He got Hopewadi'd as a child.
Against
Kelston.
That's what we're talking about. Explains everything.
Right,
Kelston first 15. He stuffed my rugby shorts and undies up there. Like
all went up.
Like he was putting a sleeping bag back into a bag. That's
that
how
makes a lot more
aggressive he
sense
was.
now.
But pulling them out would have been so satisfying.
Yeah, it was actually. It was. But I mean,
it is a great feeling.
But it's not the smoothest of exit.
No.
Because it's all wrinkled
it takes
up.
a bit of
and old school rugby shorts. I'm talking
polyester.
Yeah, early 90s Canterbury rugby shorts and old school undies. So I'm not. There's nothing. No, like Ethicas or any sports undies or anything like that.
No bamboo just coming out of there.
Just.
Can I just do a little bit of a segue and mention that?
Please.
Please, yeah. That I've been binging White Lotus because I can't go anywhere in the office without people talking about it, and it's like I don't like spoilers, and so I just have started watching.
You've had to do it.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, I am, and I'm not going to provide. I will not do any spoilers, but I will say this, G Lane. I would like. I see my parents aren't around, but your parents are, right? Can they watch White Lotus for us? Because I want to know what that generation thinks. Because when they watch drama, they saw some pretty confronting stuff back in the day. They went through Roots. Are they still going through Roots at the moment?
What's Roots?
Anyway, that was like the slave story of Africans arriving in America. Have you never heard of that?
Nah.
Famous miniseries. And then there was Holocaust, all these other things that were on TV, and it was like pretty full on.
Yeah.
But then with movies like White Lotus, there's just there's kind of a vibe, a stress, a kind of like a real sort of drilling down into the human condition. And there was one scene where I just thought, I'd wonder what some boomer parents would think of that.
Is this the chat at the dinner table between the two guys about
dressing up? Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that. but I think I need to get a review from one of your parents about White Lotus, please.
Well, okay, I'll try. It's going to be interesting. I had a terrible situation where, what's that program that was about those teenage kids? Was it Sex Life or something else?
Oh, yeah, there was Sex Life going around for a while, and then there was Outer Banks as well.
Everyone's talking
Was
about
that British one? No, it was
Adolescence or whatever, the new one.
no, Skins. That must have been
Sex
Life.
Ed, Sex Education or whatever it's called.
It was the British one.
Yeah, Sex
Yeah, yeah.
Education.
It had Gillian Anderson in it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Was that Sex Education?
Sex Education.
So anyway, I was staying with the in-laws, and they were going through the options, and I was like, Sex Education is quite good. If you guys watch that, and they were like,
It is good, but
And they were like-
famously the start of
the
every
first
episode,
thing,
G Lane.
yes, this is the problem. And then I totally forgot. I said, you need to watch the episode. You need to watch this first series. And Anna was in the kitchen. And she looked over at me, and she like mouthed, and I was like, what? And then
You just forgotten
totally forgot. And then
that there was probably someone finger banging an orange. or something.
Father-in-law clicks play, and immediately within 2 seconds, there's hardcore banging, like proper banging. And I'm like,
no.
And then the mother-in-law, father-in-law was like,
Yeah.
that's
And how did that kind of unfold from that
I
point?
was fine. It was just no eye contact.
No, honestly.
No eye contact. And we watched the whole episode, and then I remember leaving the room, and it's like, what the fuck were you thinking? And I was like, I don't know.
I know, but you can't. I mean, that's like I remember watching Boogie Nights and
The driveway scene.
and no, it doesn't matter what scene it is. It's just like the parents. When it was me and my mate, we were in our 30s and stuff. It was totally fine to watch sort of an acclaimed Oscar-nominated movie at that point, maybe even Oscar-winning movie. And of course, they walked in and went, "What the hell's going on here?" And then we were like, pretty much regressed to our teens again. It's actually really,
It's a good movie.
it's a good movie.
It's got a good storyline.
Yeah, exactly. It's got 4 stars from freaking Roger Ebert or whatever. I don't know. Like, so anyway, the whole thing is, you do have to be careful. I was a film reviewer for a while. Sometimes I'd have to take the film home. I remember taking one home and watching it with the in-laws, and it was similar. A pretty confronting sex scene.
Yeah.
There was another movie called The Idiots, and Lars von Trier, this Danish dude who did lots of weird movies, was the director, and it's about these people taking over these sort of intellectually disabled people. They're kind of hostile, and they took them out to the swimming pools and did all this sort of things, and pretending. But what they did is they pretended to be mentally disabled themselves, so that was, I think, the kicker. They were not only in charge, they also basically were part of the hostel. And there's a scene that involves, and this is a spoiler, but there's an orgy in there, and it's again, you wouldn't want to watch it with your in-laws.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, well, I mean, depends.
look, I mean, some in-laws could be up for that kind of stuff.
It's up to you, G Lane.
We'll take a quick
Shout out to my mother-in-law.
we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. Back in a minute. Before we move on, there is one thing I did do with an ex-girlfriend of mine who's a good, honest farming family. And back in the day on the Skybox when there was Spice Channel, and on Spice Channel was that soft porn channel. It never showed any sort of hardcore stuff. It was all we had. And I remember back then you could time delay something to automatically switch channels.
Yeah.
And what I used to do is I used to go and change the time. Like when they weren't there, I'd put Spice Channel to come on at 7 p.m. So once they'd finished watching the news. And I remember being over there, and the old man, having his third beer after milking the cows. He's watched the news and would be in there, and then all of a sudden it would come up with, ding, it says scheduled to change to Spice Channel. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like on the remote going, what's this? And then wife comes and goes, what's this, dear? And he's like, and I'm in the corner going, wetting myself, and it goes, changes to the Spice Channel. And he's watching porn. Like,
did you say wetting yourself or wanking yourself?
Oh, bit of both.
Okay.
Bit of both. Bit of both. But yeah, we can't
Whatever.
do that.
Your family, It's like that's the movie. This is the movie. What we're talking about. G Lane's Travels. Who is that? Your in-laws or your?
No, that was my ex. That was an ex-girlfriend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was. I was school age then. I was only like 16, 17.
Oh, you're such a barrel of laughs. Head boy at St Paul's Collegiate as well.
Keep your enemies closer. That's how I've come up with it. The Christchurch Stadium, new stadium, Te Kaha has got a bit of media in the last few days because a bit of media been taken on tours. with the mayor and shown around. I heard a bunch of radio interviews, but the poor mayor who basically did this tour, all of a sudden got bombarded with the question, where are the car parks?
Oh,
and he said,
I've heard about that.
And he's like, I don't know where the car parks are. I was like, why the fuck are we so obsessed with car parks? They're building a 30,000 seat capacity stadium in the middle of Christchurch.
Yeah.
And the key question is, where are the car parks? Like, what the fuck is wrong with us?
This is why nothing gets done in this country anymore.
What the fuck is wrong with
But
us?
apparently there is a parking building quite close by as well.
But the whole of
McOnie.
Christchurch is a car park. The whole
What?
CBD is a car park.
No, exactly what G Lane was about to say. Being a Cantab, I'm very familiar with the landscape.
It's
Thoughts
car
and
parks.
prayers. Some buildings did come down about, 15 years ago? Hence, a lot of flat gravel area. And now there's just Wilson car parks everywhere.
Everywhere.
So it's
yeah.
in the central
Everywhere.
city. Walk.
It's so upsetting to me that this awesome stadium is just getting this type of publicity. There's so many places in Christchurch to park your car. Everyone's going to be okay. Or catch a bus.
And also,
They've got the bloody e-scooters as well. I've seen them.
and they
Well,
go
the lines,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
they're
they
like-
go full speed.
Yeah.
Not like Auckland, where they slow them down to walking pace because some boomer got hit while getting off a
Well,
bus.
it's
Oh,
so
is that why
flat
they go
there,
so
you
slow?
can pick
Yeah.
up quite a bit of pace.
So I'm looking forward to it because it's an amazing stadium. It's in a perfect position. It's right close to town. It's walking distance to all the bars. They're going to take over. Christchurch will be the new sports hub for New Zealand. They've got Hagley Oval. They'll have that. They probably need maybe an indoor velodrome somewhere and a Olympic-sized swimming pool. And
They've got one of those being built as it stands.
and they're sorted. Meanwhile, we'll just keep arguing up here about costs and Eden Park and everything else. But that's the first thing someone asked when we suggested Victoria Park as an international Test cricket ground. That was the first people. They go, "Where are you going to park?" I'm like, "Oh, is that it? Is that what we got?"
You can't hit sixes onto the motorway, G Lane. It's probably just it's a bridge too far.
It'll make it more entertaining.
Nice.
Yeah,
I bet. Yeah, I'm going to ignore the pun, but
it's an overbridge too far.
it's an overbridge too far. It is an overbridge too far.
Well, yeah, I think they should chill out. But there's a business down there for someone who wants to take boomers to the game in rickshaws or something like that.
Yeah,
you know,
ferry them round or don't go. But they are going to have the best stadium in New Zealand for a very long time, while the rest of us argue about stadiums in Auckland. And probably not in our lifetime, we won't see one. Hey, I thought this piece of feedback came in for the ACC. I thought it came in on Saturday post the Friday night commentary, but it didn't. It came in before that. It was someone on Reddit, and the headline of it is, well, the title is, "Are the Alternative Commentary Collective just working to drink?" Discuss. And it says, and it follows up with, "But they get away with it because many people listening," which is a good point. "I recently came across this media outlet in the past year and discovered it's just an infinity for Radio Hauraki and ACC staff to not get fired." Interesting. "Their main topic is getting drunk. Their sponsorships are beer, and every job they are trying to get as drunk as possible. Is this not actually work for them, but an excuse to get steamed, as they say? Just curious how they get away with this, considering most New Zealand media is quite conservative, such as ZB."
I mean, they raise some good points
They
there.
do raise
actually.
some good points. I mean,
I've asked the exact same question. Now, this isn't me, by the way.
it isn't you,
But I would say that
JM.
I mean
Te Kaha is not you.
that could be okay. Guilty as charged. Let's unpack this. No, I mean the thing is that I think some of the responses have been quite good. One was like question mark, isn't it? So that to me is pretty much the way it needs to be approached, because I work for the ACC, but I don't do much cricket, and so I would not be able to follow cricket if it wasn't for the ACC. I cannot handle the mainstream commentary. I mean, not that much of it. You know what I mean? A full day.
Yes.
Whereas I can handle the ACC banter, you know, for the full day's play or whatever it is. So that's the thing. I mean, that's the way different people, each their own, consume their media or their commentary or their games, you know.
And I like how they're saying, how do they get away with it, considering most New Zealand media is quite conservative? Well, that's the whole idea. We're not conservative. But the responses are the funniest. "Are you hiring?" Says someone. Someone else says, "I think this was supposed to be entitled, 'Are the Commentary Collective Just Living the Dream?'" I feel like this is more of a compliment than a complaint.
I think
quite
this
nice.
guy doesn't even know whoever this person is giving the feedback, he isn't even sure whether or not he admires us or hates us. I
Yeah.
think, throughout this note here, his tone changes. I think at times he realises actually maybe this is something that I'd quite like to do.
I think you could be onto something there, Mash. This sounds like a guy who's probably been ostracised from dinner parties for his inappropriate humour.
Yeah.
And so
We've all got one.
he's been banned from Christmas and everything, and just for saying some pretty bad stuff.
And getting a bit handsy.
Yeah,
potentially
exactly,
later on.
possibly. And then he hears the ACC commentary and goes, that's not...
That's what I've been doing.
It's exactly the same. That's me. And it's like, no, it's not quite you, because what your subject matter is definitely questionable. And that's why...
That's exactly what's going on here.
We are doing a bit of a dance at the ACC. It's not just... I mean, there is a lot of below the belt,
absolutely.
downstairs conversations that
But in
carry
real,
on ad
but in real
nauseam.
life- But in real life, there is as well.
I know. We're not faking it. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So I think that that this person has been told off, and they're wondering why we aren't getting told off as well.
Yeah, that's right. Someone here says it's basically just a life hack that no one else is smart enough to figure out. This commentary is disgraceful. Pass the sherry, Reginald. Is another one.
Well,
So there you go.
remember the ultimate example is, remember that guy Graham Capel, who was the
Oh yes, he was the Christian
Heritage Party.
Yes.
He was the leader of the Christian Heritage Party. He complained about everything that was...
He was the go-to, wasn't he?
He was the go-to for rent a quote, for
Yeah.
anything that he thought was off colour, was poor form, too risque, all of this kind of stuff.
Family standards, all that.
Yeah,
kind of
all
stuff.
that sort of thing. Got busted for...
Child molestation.
yes, exactly.
And then he got knocked the F out outside the Christchurch
Outside
court,
Christchurch Court, yes,
which was
exactly.
one of the great right hooks you'd ever see, which, funnily enough, the guy got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
The guy thought was someone else, but he laid one of the most famous punches seen on TV. And the squeal from him, remember the squeal? Ah!
Yeah.
When he went down, Graham Capel.
Gloriavale, they're very big on Christian values. Doesn't sound like it was a real picnic there either, did it?
Exactly.
So maybe it's better to come to the dark side. Join us at the ACC.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with your chance, actually, to have your say with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
So, James and Mash, we've got 4 to get through today.
Oh,
First one, yours, please.
Yeah, okay, Mashy. Hey, I'm just trying to get in contact because you ghosted me, buddy. As I say, I went there, I sharpened his knives, I fed the sourdough, did way more than was expected of me, and really put the shits up. I don't know what you got against this bloke, but to pay someone to do that, it's pretty tough. But I'd love those 2 boxes of beers you promised me for that, mate. So yeah, get in touch, hey, and yeah.
who's
what?
Would be lovely.
Well, this is a discussion.
This was elaborate.
This
Yes.
is something, there's several lines of inquiry in there.
Yeah.
This is yesterday I discussed, we had someone come and house sit our house and they left various gifts, and at the end of the note they wrote, which is a quite nice note, didn't need to say it, said, by the way, I've sharpened all your knives. They were quite blunt. And I took that as a personal attack on, I can't look after my family, I can't provide for my family, I can't even sharpen my knives, I'm not a man.
It's the tip of the iceberg, that
Yeah.
knife sharpening. They
Yeah.
wanted to say more, but
Yeah.
that was just enough to say you're running a terrible, sloppy operation here.
Yeah,
I'm on
that's
to
what I
you,
thought.
you pussy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, was that a direct attack on my family? And,
100%.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
And so what this person is now suggesting is that maybe I put this bloke that came round to your house to look after your house, to house sit your house,
Yeah.
onto that.
Right.
That's not the case. I can assure you, G Lane, I had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
I am just as excited as everyone else to hear that your masculinity is being questioned.
Yeah,
You know,
well, look.
a friend of mine got me a knife sharpener for a Christmas present. It was the worst. or maybe birthday, and I'm like,
Was it
what
the
the
same
fuck
guy?
is this? I almost wanted to throw it back in his face. I know you should be grateful.
I know.
But
well,
I was like,
that's what I said because my lovely life partner was like, she was like, oh, that's so nice of him. I was like, no, fuck.
Nah.
Like, he didn't need to tell me. He could have just sharpened them, and I could have just gone, oh, he's sharp. The knives are nice and sharp, but he had to make a point.
you and I are both the right amount of paranoid and wounded ego.
Yeah, it was an ego hit to me. Actually,
Yeah.
a massive ego hit.
Okay, next
Next
one.
one.
Yours, please.
on his G Lane's house watcher encroaching onto his family life. A mate of mine, he popped away into another country for a funeral, come back, had a guy watch his dog in his house for him, and obviously at some point the missus came around to see how the dog was doing. Anyway, he walked through the front door out of the taxi and saw him doggying his missus. So he walked straight back out the front door and went to the nearest pub. Anyway, hooroo.
What? So there was a house sitter dogging his missus, is that right?
There's so many questions there. Was the missus come home early, or was she with him at the funeral?
So was it the funerals? The guy that popped off to the funeral?
Yes.
His lovely partner was getting made love to.
By the house sitter, but it's like, the girlfriend must have come over.
Yeah, so that is what might be happening to you, G Lane, in a couple of years' time, but that is some story. It doesn't make me feel great.
Nah. Hopefully that wasn't a long-term relationship. Hopefully it was new. It was in the first couple of weeks or something. Anyway.
That's, that is concerning, that one. I mean, what else can you do apart from go to the pub after that?
He made the right choice.
Yeah.
He made the right choice. But, I mean, obviously he left them at it in his house. I would have thrown them out and then gone to the pub.
Yeah, and I think that's why maybe it was in the early stages of
but would you, G Lane, would you be going, okay, I know it's an awkward position, but just get up and move, like baby steps, you're going to hit, you want to stay inside? Okay, it's fine, carry on.
Don't get knotted.
Yeah, off you go. Keep walking.
Walkie.
Here's your clothes.
Yeah.
And then they can carry. Would you let them carry on the lawn?
They might as well. Like dogs. Like filthy dogs. Okay.
All right.
Next one.
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah. Yours, please.
Yeah, g'day, fellas. Just a couple quick ones. What would it take G Lane to do a dry July? Raise some funds, sort life out and all that jazz. And your missus is going to the fucking golf course and whinging about you, and then the guys come in and sharpen your knives and snifting through your drawers and whatnot. And Mashy says he couldn't handle your big house. You just lived in fucking Jeremy Wells' basement for 5 years interning. Sure you can handle people.
Fucking lot of drive-bys from that guy.
Jeez, he's throwing 100 miles an hour there.
First of all,
he knows you.
Yeah, first of all, he can stick dry July up his ass. No one tells me that I can or cannot drink, and then under some pseudonym that I'm raising money.
Did you live in Jeremy Wells' basement?
He did.
I think he was referring to me there. Because yesterday on the episode I was saying that, I wouldn't know where to find G Lane's knives because his house is, quite large over there on the shore.
Right by the front door.
And your wife complains about you down at the...
No. We talked... I also discussed yesterday the fact that she's taken up golf.
It was a big episode yesterday, wasn't it?
And she's worked out... She's clocked the algorithm, and she's worked it all out that golf is not about golf. It's about just gossiping on the course and drinking, and then going back to the clubhouse and then spending a suspicious amount of time in the clubhouse and texting saying, the round was real slow, I'll be a while. And I was like, that's my line.
Yeah.
She's seen through the matrix.
Stealing your moves.
Yeah, she's totally stealing my moves.
I know, and that's the thing. You've been so pathetic for years, just sort of like skiving off. And it's so obvious. It's like, I mean, there have been times where I've just said, G Lane, we've had to send you down to the ferry.
Yeah.
We almost need a little, like a flying fox from NZME down to the ferry just to get you down there.
Or maybe just some sort of shut-off system that you're how you can put parental guards on your kids' phones and stuff, and it shuts it down at 6 o'clock. The downtime.
You could run a flying fox from NZME down to the ferry, but the problem is you'd find a way to detour to Dr. Rudy's or whatever. Or
as I go past, they have a beer for me. As I go past all the bars on the way down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the last one. I hope this isn't just an all-out attack on me and my family.
G'day, mates.
G'day, mate.
What a beautiful podcast today, Monday. Look, we've all made mistakes, G Lane. I sent in a shit yarn about some Swedish prick beating Rory and he's an Irish piece of shit, but that didn't work out for me. But, oh, Captain, my Captain. One of the greatest commentaries we've listened to. You probably can't remember it, but it was spectacular. And the fact you can't remember it makes it even better. Love you,
Oh, you've got the babes in it. Then.
Oh, do you know what? He's talking about Saturday night where you were drunk as a skunk.
Friday night.
Friday night, sorry. And you were a few sheets to the wind. Yeah. Not fully steamed because I've seen you. I mean, we remember the quokka shocker incident
the
from a
Queensland
few
Quaffers.
years ago.
Yeah, don't bring
and
that up.
But that came hot on the heels of G Lane sending an email out to people talking about what we have to do in terms of standards and don't turn up to, like the beer fridge is there for a few drinks afterwards and all this kind of.
Seen that email.
There was some high and mighty bullshit going out there. I'm pretty sure Joe Jury's nodding his head. So that was what was made. It made it outstanding. Just the hypocrisy. But on Friday night though, when I suggested that you were too drunk to commentate and we wanted to get someone else to come in and replace us, by the way, the office had emptied, so you carried on. The groundswell of people sticking up for you was absolutely kind of shocking, really. Everyone's going, well, this is going to encourage him because everyone's like, no, this is the greatest. Like, leave him in there. We're trying to guess what he's going to say next and how many do you reckon he's had and all this kind of stuff.
I tell you what, though, my predictions, if I go, a few sheets to the wind, my predictions were bang on. I jumped on the Hodiki Big Show, and they're trying to mock me with their coin flipping. I make a prediction, they flip a coin to see whether the coin can predict games.
So are
better
they
than me.
suggesting that a 50-50 item can pick a game just as well as you can? Is that the idea there? Okay, right.
And they introduced me as, the all knowledgeable rugby fountain of knowledge, and I'm certainly not. But that's all right. And on Friday, after quite a number of beers, and I had to go back and listen to it on the logger to see what picks I'd made for the weekend, 100%.
Yeah.
I picked every single one. I picked the Crusaders. I picked the New South Wales to banana skin the Chiefs.
Wow.
I then chose the Blues to beat Moana. I chose Highlanders to beat the Drua, and I chose the Brumbies to beat. And I was like, yeah, stick that, smoke that.
There you go.
So maybe I should do it more often.
Maybe. And why wasn't that our bet? Why wasn't that our multi? Because that would have been a good one.
It would have been paying a shitload, I'll tell you that. That would have really revived our account.
Well, for a good hunch, can we do a game day one, but maybe do a weekend one that we reveal on the Monday?
We can do that. We could probably do that.
A parlay.
We could do a parlay. We could do that, absolutely, because we've got an agenda bet we have to lay out on the Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
We could probably do that now, to be honest, looking at a results parlay. Let's look at...
Let's fire that up, and while you fire that up, let me just tell McOnie about... There's a flip side to this story about how G Lane, nailed 5 from 5 in the Super Rugby results on the Big Show on Friday. He took us out, McOnie, to celebrate the end of the season of cricket. We had a bit of a long lunch, hence why he was so steamed, and just as the bill was about to get paid, the Big Show called, and then he went off for about 15 minutes, by the way. And I'd say the voice break probably was only on air for about 3 or 4. If I know Pixie Campbell, he would have made sure it was only about 3.
Nah, the Big Show put you on hold for about 3 or 4 songs.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 2 songs.
Only because it wasn't pre-recorded.
You had to sit through Sweet Child of Mine and Purple Rain before you were able to speak. And then he went away just as the bill had to be paid. And so we all had to cover that. And then he got his 5 from 5, came back, didn't have to pay for a single thing, and here we are.
Well, I did say I'll be back. You could have waited, but you were also a bit too impatient, weren't you?
Yeah, there was. I had places to be.
Where were you?
Yeah, we're at Rosie's Red Hot Cantina.
Yeah.
A little bit of Mexican.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, do you know what? The last weekend I thought was easy to pick. I mean, I agreed with all of those ones.
I can do it now.
But this weekend is tough. If you can do a multi from this weekend, you're a better man than me, G Lane.
Okay, Crusaders Blues.
Crusaders.
In Christchurch.
Yeah.
Come on.
Blues desperate.
Blues very desperate.
Come on.
Blues desperate.
Going Blues. Okay, and then we're going to go Drua Waratahs.
Clip this up, Joe.
In Fiji. Fiji? Or Waratahs?
That's actually a hard one.
Tars.
Yeah, this is going to bring the odds up.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Moana at home against the Brumbies.
Oh, now this is a tough one because they were stung. They'll get their selections right. They rested. They put Pellegrini on the bench, which is crazy madness, right? I mean, I think
at home you're playing in Albany.
4:35, nice day in Auckland. I'm going Moana.
Chiefs Highlanders. Chiefs. At home.
Chiefs Highlanders. Yeah, I think you can go Chiefs. They've got to have a bounce back game probably.
And all the way over in Perth, we've got the Hurricanes versus the Force.
Canes win it desperate.
Okay, so let me look at this 5-leg parlay.
I just want to double check you're happy with those first 2 results you locked in. The Crusaders one.
Blues.
You think the Blues are going to beat them?
Can we do a mesh one and
Theory?
we can do a G Lane one?
Yeah, we can put 50 on each, but it's that one there is paying $26.99.
If it's paying, Well, what are the Blues paying down there? What are the current head-to-head odds of that Blues Crusaders?
I'm going to put 2 on. Okay, so I'll split the hundy.
Okay.
And so Mashy can have one half of it.
Yeah. So what's your one then? Your one is Crusaders.
It's just that second result as well. What was that second
Crusaders,
game?
Fijian, Drua, and Waratahs.
Yeah, no, I don't know actually. Nah.
You going Drua or Waratahs?
Or you want Brumbies?
Joe Jerry next to me is saying that we should go Drua. You reckon, Joe? Okay, well maybe Joe and I will take one.
Okay.
As the Canterbury Mafia.
And then how are you feeling about Brumbies versus Moana Pacifica?
Oh, so you thought the weather was going to play a part there, didn't you? 4:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon.
It's looking terrible this weekend.
Oh,
hey, look, tune in tomorrow to tomorrow's podcast for the final bets. And,
what are you going?
I'm looking at these two Canterbury guys, and they can't make a single call between them.
If it's wet, I think Moana will lose.
Chiefs Highlanders.
Well, Chiefs will win that.
Okay, and Fours Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Okay, so your one is paying a measly $6.91.
Also, we've just gone favourites. Okay, that is boring. I will admit that.
You have gone the favourites.
But I don't have eyes on the favourites right now. So, what are the Crusaders Blues head-to-heads?
Hang on, I'm just putting your one on just so...
Are we still recording?
Yeah. I'm proving a point. Proving a point here, and I'm putting that on.
I think we should just go for yours.
Crusaders $1.50, Blues $2.45.
Oh, see, maybe we should just go with yours. I feel like ours isn't paying enough.
I've placed them.
Okay, fucking
I've placed them, so it's too late.
Sorry, McOnie, you didn't deserve to sit through that.
That's all right.
Well,
no, it's good. We've got two bets. We've got the Canterbury Mafia, and we've got the Devonport dildos.
Oh, don't blame it on me. You were involved in that as well.
I'm part of the dildos.
Yeah, that's Peninsula. It's
100%.
It's the Peninsulas of Auckland versus the Canterbury Mafia.
It's a double ender.
Yeah, we'll knock it on the head. We'll be back on Thursday with a Thursday edition with Matt Heath and a special guest as well on Thursday's podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.